Hello and welcome back to Simon's Shed. It's time for another Engage layout update, and today, now that we've got the basic landscape shape in place and the track laid, we are going to start applying the base layer of scenery, which means ballasting the track and applying some scatter and also some static grass. So I'll go through that, but first I'll just whiz through the things that I am going to use. First and most important, a cup of tea, and we'll need to ballast the track with some ballast. I've been using the Woodland Scenics fine grade ballast. Then for the base sort of scenery colour, I've gone for this default earth undercoat colour, but also because I wanted to try a few different things. And some areas will be concrete and road tarmac, so to try a few different colours out, I got the earth colour kit, which gives you 8 different colours ranging from white to black and all kinds of greys and stuff in between, and browns. So I've been having to play with those to try and sort of get some more realistic concrete colours and road colours. So I'll be using those. Also going to be trying out these Woodland Scenic scatters. So we've got some earth colour and yellow grass and green grass colours to go on the base layer of scenery. And now for the static grass, I've got a couple of different lengths of the knock grass and loads of different, slightly different shades, from sort of ornamental lawn to meadow, so we can sort of mix those together to get different effects. So that's the static grass, and we're going to apply that with my homemade static grass applicator. So that started out life as an electric fly swat. Obviously took the top off. This is simply a £2 tea strainer. So we've got one wire soldered into there, and the other output goes into the metal sort of net of the tea strainer. There's plenty of places online where you can find the instructions to do this. Obviously there is the proper knock grass applicator, but that's rather expensive, so since I already had this, it only cost me £2 for that, so I thought I'd have a go with that first and see how we get on. So let's get started. So before we actually lay the grass, we're going to have an undercoat of earth brown colour. Paint that on with the foam brush that came with the kit. It's pretty good. I used the little plastic palette thing that also came with the kit as well, and that's quite useful. So before we stick the grass down, we make sure we've got that colour down so the white doesn't show through, and we put the nail into the scenery, knock that in, and I've soldered a crocodile clip to the end of the wire on the static grass applicator, just to make it a bit easier. And I'm mixing together a couple of different types of grass there, mostly the ornamental lawn one for this bit, because it's going to be quite a sort of lush sort of picturesque sort of area. So a bit of PVA goes down there, and I've put a bit of brown scatter underneath as well, just to experiment with that. So press the button on what was the fly swat and is now the static grass applicator, and give it a shake, and down it goes. I used the 1.5mm grass, which I think you can see it's a pretty good effect and it's standing up there, but I think the next one up, the 2.5mm, is a lot better. It's quite long if you work out the scale. Obviously it's really long grass, but I think you can sort of get away with having longer grass than the scale than it would really be in terms of the scale, if you see what I mean. So I'm using neat PVA. I've tried watered down PVA as well. Doesn't seem to make that much difference to me. So just do another little patch here, just going around the edge of where the little lake will be. And yeah, pretty pleased with this. You can get, if you just Google it, you can get instructions on how to make the sort of homemade static grass applicator from a electric fly swat. So I won't go into that. It's a fairly simple process, but yeah, pleased with that. As for the ballasting, as I said, I use the fine grey ballast. I'm going to weather it up eventually and make it, add a bit of variation to it and make it look a bit more realistic. So I'm going to speed a lot of this up because I don't think the world needs another ballasting video particularly, but this is just for completeness to show how I did it, just applying it manually by hand, as it were. No, you can get little gadgets and things to do it for you, but spread some in the middle of the track and try and get it level with the rails. Again, the little foamy brush comes in useful here, and here we go. That's a bit faster. I really wish I could do it this fast in real life. Neaten it all up with a paintbrush, and once we've got it looking okay, we can go around the edges. I found that one of the secrets, I think, is not to use too much ballast. It's quite easy to use too much and end up with it all over the place. So yeah, there's a bit of a knack to it, and it took me a while to get it right, really. I ended up scooping some up and starting again and pushing it round. But yeah, just brush it off the rails, neaten up the edge with a brush, and we'll whiz through doing the other side. And once it's down, we just wet it with some fine mist of water with a bit of washing up liquid in it, just so that the glue soaks in, and then we just use watered down PVA to stick it down. So neaten it up, on it goes, on goes the water, give it a good spray. That does tend to move it about a bit, but you can always neaten it up again. And a little syringe from the kiddies' Calpol medicine cupboard. Squirt on the PVA, get it all soaked in and leave it to dry, and that's the sort of main track ballasted. As for the points, I tried a couple of different methods. I tried basically that you just saw there, but sort of taping over the mechanical bit of the points where it actually slides along, and I tried this method, which you just paint on, very carefully paint on the glue in between the rails and along the sides of the in between the rails and along the sides of the sleepers, and then drop a bit of ballast on like that. To be honest, the jury's out. I had problems with both methods just due to my inexperience, and just made a bit of a mess, and it was fine. It just took a lot of clearing up and a lot of persuading the point to start working again properly, and cleaning out all the tiny bits of ballast from the point blades, but we got there in the end. So that's that for ballasting. Did a little bit on the road base because it was very bumpy, so just used polyfiller to smooth it out, spread polyfiller all over it, tried to level it out, and I found that if you sort of give it a bit of a spray with the water, it seems to level itself off quite nicely. So the road is looking a bit more road-like. Okay, so here we are back in the shed. I've ballasted the whole track. Try and give you a bit of a close-up. Reasonably pleased with how it's turned out. There's a few places that need patching up and tweaking, and I'd like to add some kind of weathering to it. I have had a bit of a play running a bit of a black line down the middle there. So I'll probably experiment with that a bit more and do something like that. The grass, if I can get the that's a bit better. So I've done a first layer of grass and I've just patched up with the brown scatter where there were a few gaps showing, so I'm going to go over that again. But as a first pass, that's what we've ended up with. And had a bit of a play with some grey paint on the road just to test. But I think I'm going to go with the I'm going to try this scalescenes.com roads and see what that looks like, because I'm not entirely happy with the grey colour. Obviously just ignore the brown bits at the edge, I was just experimenting with the grey paint. So I've actually stopped on this. I probably need to go over this bit again where there'll be a little pond or a big pond or a little lake there. But I've realised that as I'm sort of reaching over to do the bits at the back, I'm just going to destroy everything at the front. So I've stopped work on this bit for now, and I'm going to focus on the bit along the back. You can see little bits of little squares of paper everywhere. They represent Scale Scenes buildings. So if we start here, we're going to have the gable roof engine shed, which can obviously be any length that you like, so that could go there. Some kind of field here with the farmhouse and a barn. It's sort of fenced off to there, so that's more of a concrete area. On this hill I've got no grass on here yet, but I was thinking maybe the Scale Scenes pub or something similar there. A little path down, sort of fenced off to there, maybe a little car park there with a path up to the pub, and extend the road and join it up to there so that it's one continuous road. I've dotted a few other little buildings just as a few ideas really. A little coal office there now. Oh, and a signal box maybe there. So this is going to be the station area, so we've got the GWR goods shed and station there. It's not specifically going to be a GWR, I'm not really modelling any kind of time period specifically, or any kind of, it's just a generic layout because I just want the freedom to run whatever trains I want to run and make it look however I want it to look. So maybe in the future, a future layout, I can do a specific time period, but for now I'm just happy running whatever I want to run. If I want to run a Virgin Voyager next to a Black 5, then I will do that, which probably annoys a lot of people, but hey, it's my layout after all. So once we've got the station and the platform here, we will probably have a couple of rows. So these represents 3 small terraced houses from Scale Scenes, so probably something like 3 there and 3 there with the gardens backing onto the line. It's a bit of a shame because you won't see very much of the front of the houses, but hey, I did think about maybe doing the low relief house backs as well, but I think I'm going to go for the full ones, and it doesn't really matter if you can't see the front. What else have I been doing? I've been having a bit of a play with some bushes. Well, to be honest, I've got to credit Oliver, my 4-year-old, with these. He's been dipping cotton buds in glue and then into the green scatter, and they've turned out rather well, I think. I think we've got a modeller in the making there. So yeah, that tiny little bank there is probably the bit I'm most pleased with so far. I think it looks okay. So that's what I've been up to. I had another glue PVA drying white disaster. All this area was pure white, but I just discovered that if you just spray it again with a mist of water, and because it's really hot and sunny today, it seems to have dried, for the second time, it seems to have dried pretty clear. So that's worth knowing. I have also sort of tried to blend the tunnel portals in with the edge of the scenery. It's not quite finished. Don't know whether you can see it, but there is a little bit of newspaper sticking out there, and it's not quite finished, but it looks a lot better than it did with a massive sort of hole. And the other tunnel portal, the same sort of thing really. Needs a bit of work, finishing it off, cleaning it up, and sort of blending it in with the hill. And there's quite a big hole there that needs filling in, but looking better and better. So yeah, and we've got some trains running again. There's a few bits of ballast to patch up, as I said. There's a few bits that have come off there when I sort of hoovered it up, hoovered off the excess, and yeah, so that needs patching up. And it did take a lot of cleaning after the ballasting. I've definitely had my fill of ballasting for the moment. Cleaning all the rails and the points, getting all the points working again afterwards was a bit of a nightmare. I've hidden the dapole uncoupling magnets a little bit. I think that one more successfully with a bit of ballast, but I've just painted that one grey and took the ballast off because it was catching on there. It's a bit too high, but I can fix that easily enough. So yeah, next is put some kind of surface down there, probably grass over this bit, more concretey, tarmacy over that bit for the station, and again grass as a base for the houses there. And yeah, I need to get building some scale scenes kits. So there we are. We are all up to date with my progress. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.